What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's edition of the Hot Seat. We're back in the saddle again with my homeboy Taylor Made Speaks in the building. Taylor, what's good? What's happening with you? You don't want to talk?
How you doing?
You at a loss for words or something?
No.
I'm like, Taylor, what's up? What's happening with you? You like,
What's
hey,
going No, I didn't hear you. What's
oh,
going on?
oh, it's all you. How was your day?
My day was better than yesterday. Like a 180. I'm going to be honest with you. And let me say this to kind of take it there. Um
You
I
taking
was
it there in the church announcements? You taking it there already?
absolutely. So I was going to, I had some projects that I had to get done and I was going to stay a little later. I mean,
Okay.
later, like 9 o'clock after hours, right?
Like 9 p.m.
Like 9 p.m. to get some stuff done.
Mhm.
And as the time was coming, to about 5 o'clock, something just snapped. Not snapped like I went crazy, but something just clicked. And I said, you know what? I'm off. I'm
I'm
done.
out of here. I'm
I'm out of,
done.
I'm out of
I'm
here.
not required to be here after this time. So I'm gonna
100%.
leave like everybody else, like everybody else left. Period.
Yep. I left. And you know what? And I went and got me something to eat. I just relaxed. I
That's that
decompressed.
self-care. That's that self-care. Take care of
Yep.
Taylor.
Yep. And then I woke up bright and early today, and I was so refreshed. It was like if I would have stayed until 9 o'clock, it would have been the worst decision.
Burn out.
Yeah,
Period.
yeah. I came back refreshed with a new vision, new perspective, goal, angle, everything. And you know what? I still had some I still had some things that I didn't get accomplished, but I
Mhm.
was okay. It wasn't like yesterday. Yesterday, I didn't get nothing that I wanted to accomplish, but everything else was happening around me, and I was pulled from different angles.
Mhm.
Um, but today, I got half accomplished, but the angles that I was pulled, I was okay. I made it, and
That's
that's
what
what I
I'm talking
said.
about.
I made it. I
That's
made it.
what's up. That's what's up. Y'all, welcome to this week's edition of the Hot Seat. I'm your hostess with the mostest, P. Coffee Brown. And as you can see, Taylor is already in rare form. We ain't even had the church announcements yet before he got crunk tonight. But I love it. I love his personality. I love how bubbly he is and how transparent he is. And so, we were talking, we're gonna get right into this, Taylor, because this is round two from last week. So we were talking about something very important, and that's about losing yourself in a relationship. How important is it? How important it is to not do that and to make certain that you understand how you got there and how to reel that baby back in. So we're going to talk again more in detail about that tonight. Taylor, you know me, I love to do my research and kind of, even with being a certified master life coach and all that kind of stuff, I still find a lot of value in other people's perspectives, not just the perspective that I've obtained through relationships and reading and education and all these other things and all that kind of good stuff. I think it's so important that we continue down that path when we're adding value to other individuals when it comes to relationships, because nobody's an authority on relationships. We all are constantly evolving, growing, and becoming when it comes down to relationships. And you don't want to be around somebody who know everything anyway, because that individual doesn't have space to grow and improve. So even with me actually sitting down, being a student of life coaching and doing it with the John Maxwell method, I'm constantly being a student, always, when it comes to relationships. And one thing that I do clearly understand, and losing yourself in relationships is not just romantic relationships. You can lose yourself in a business partnership. You can lose yourself as a parent. You can lose yourself as a caregiver. You can lose yourself as a number in a number of roles. It's not just romantically. So it's so important that we are very clear and we understand the importance of tending to us. I love what you said, Taylor. You kind of segued right into the conversation when you said, you know what, I am scheduled to be out of here at 5 o'clock. So I need to go ahead and walk on out this door and do what I need to do for Taylor because I can't do for others if I'm not doing for me. And I tell people all the time, one thing that I do make it real clear when I'm teaching people, and I know you doing coaching as well, is that it's very important that you always keep you first. People say, "Oh, I got no, 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 no." It's the airplane philosophy. You get on a plane, they tell you put your mask on first, and then you go back and save somebody else. If you don't have your mask on first, you are going to consequently not be of value to everybody else that desires, needs, or wants you in their life. So you have got to make sure that you don't forfeit you and put you on the back burner of life. It's so dangerous and it's very detrimental to you in a lot of ways. Your mental health, your physical health, your emotional state of existence. You cannot be emotionally intelligent when you're drained. It just can't. The two don't go together. You can't be drained and emotionally intelligent. So you're going to be making decisions that are irrational and all kinds of stuff that you normally wouldn't do had you taken the initiative to take care of you. It's very important that we take care of us. So I'm going to dive right into some things that I kind of looked up and kind of took some notes on. So some of the main things that we're going to talk about tonight is about these boundaries. One thing that I read in a kind of a whole bunch of different contexts that I did some research on. I use stuff like Psychology Today is a great publication when it comes to relational content. So that's a great way, a great place to look at relational content, even though it's a .com, but it is a great place to look at it because they do have professionals who do a lot of the information, the articles that you find on there. Okay. So I do generate information from there. I do also infuse information from my college. I graduated from the University of Arizona Global Campus and as a communications major. So I still go into the library to look at certain content from a collegiate stance to have these discussions as well. So those are the two places where I generate information from. And then thirdly, Taylor, myself, we're both coaching. We're actual literal coaches, not just we're students of the industry, not just saying, "Oh, I'm coach." No, I actually am certified. He's actually certified. So we're not just doing this. We have sat down, done the work to be able to add value to other people, just so you guys know that. So when it comes to the personal boundaries and needs, it's extremely important that you identify what lines cannot be crossed in your relationship. One thing that I learned, Taylor, a long time ago was the line of when I say I'm exhausted, I've had a long day, and your partner may still insist on saying something about something negative or not so positive. No, I just said that I'm exhausted. I've had a long day. I'm not even in a position to be of value to you in a conversation right now. So please don't cross the boundary. That's going to be a huge problem. It causes conflict, chaos, confusion, calamity, and then you have all these different disagreements as a result of it because I said, I'm exhausted. I've had a long day. I can't communicate with you effectively.
Yeah.
Taylor, how does that play out when people don't respect those boundaries? How are we to respond, not necessarily react, but how are we to respond? Let's be hypothetical right now. You and I are in a relationship. I come home and I just share with you what I just said, and you're still coming at me.
Mhm.
What's an effective way to not, the disrespect could get real, it could get real ugly real fast. What's a great way that, even from the coaching space and teaching people, what's a great way to kind of push back without being disrespectful to the partner that's insisting on coming to you?
Yeah, I remember this question coming up because it can get really ugly, right? And it could get physical, to be honest with you, especially when somebody's provoking you. I like to use that word because that's what it is. It's provoking. it's coming at you, and you're having a bad day, you have a headache, you're not feeling well, and they're just tugging on you. They're just poking your buttons, right?
Mhm.
I think you have to escape from that situation fast. What are some of the things? You can go to the bathroom. I use that all the time, especially when I'm talking to people. It's no different than at your job when you're in a heat, a disagreement with your boss or what have you. You got to take that break and go to the bathroom. Some people have the ability to calm themselves down, but a lot of us don't,
Mhm.
because we're human beings and that's just our nature, right?
Mhm.
Unless you've been trained to do that. And let me say this, some people are trained to do that, but when you're in the heat of the moment, sometimes our training goes out the window, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes our emotions um, have an ability to take over our actions. And so we got to be very cognizant of that. But if you break away, you're not counting, you're not thinking, you're not doing nothing. You're just saying, "Hey, I got to go to the bathroom." And that's and and so it kind of breaks that what I was going to say, that direction where anything is going, because you
Mhm.
take a break, right? It's just like fighting. You're fighting, right? Say you're physically fighting somebody, and then you say time out, time out, time out. Once the timeout happens and you stop,
Mhm.
you know how sometimes it's difficult to get back into that momentum to start fighting again, right?
Mhm.
So you're breaking that momentum. So you're taking a break, you're going to the bathroom, and you can stay in the bathroom. Just say, "Hey, I'm not feeling well. I'll be right back." Right? I don't think anyone's gonna argue with you if you say you go in the bathroom, you need to be right back. I might be mad at you, Miss Brown. I might be mad at you, but if you say you got to go to bath, I'm gonna let you go to the bathroom. I might sit down. I might go fix me a sandwich. I might watch some TV. I'm still waiting on you, but I think that leaves room for that other person to really calm down and really assess something. I want to say this. Um, I'm glad that we're having this conversation, because I remember there were times when I was that person that was doing the poking. Uh,
Mm.
and and it's not poking, like, not physically, but words, right? And I saw where that led to. It led to a bad place. And it
Mhm.
led to a place where there is words exchanged that you can't take back.
Right.
And then it goes beyond that, where now you're making the person cry and putting the person in a position where they don't like you anymore. And sometimes it leads to, breaking up if you're talking to each other, what have you. So I think that we got to be very careful, especially when you're provoking. The Bible also say don't provoke.
That's what it says.
Anyway, but
Very
yeah,
true.
I think we need to have that time to separate ourselves, before it leads into something serious that you can't take back.
You know what? I like what you said I love the exit strategy that you gave. I gotta go to the restroom. And I'm not feeling the best. I really need to go to the restroom. I'll be back in just a minute or so. Um, I think that's really a good strategy because it gives you a chance to recalibrate even yourself, regroup, and kind of think through how am I going to diffuse this situation and give myself grace and give my person grace. Because sometimes it's not that we're trying to poke the bear, but sometimes something internal is pressing so hard, and maybe it's been something that was lingering with your partner or something like that, and it's come to a head, kind of like a boil, and they're about to boil over because of this situation. But again, we all have to respect a person's boundaries. When you come out the restroom, say, "Hey, hon, I know, Taylor, that you really want to have this discussion with me, but I cannot. I don't have the capacity to give you what you need right now. If you'll just give me, till tomorrow, I will be certain. to create space for you and I to have this conversation because I understand how important it is. And I respect the fact that you want my undivided attention. I just can't give it to you right now. And normally, when you have that little bit of isolation, that space between the two humans, normally, if you're rationally thinking human beings and you're two healthy, emotionally intelligent people, hopefully that's who you're dealing with, that person will back off and they'll say, okay, all right, they're gonna be mad. They're gonna be upset. They still gonna have that, they're gonna still be in their feelings. And it's fine. Very fine. You can be in your feelings. Cause I don't want to talk to you for real. Cause I already know you know, I already know it's gonna be ugly. It's the conversation gonna be ugly because the way you acting right now. I know it ain't gonna be a pretty conversation. However, I have got to respect the boundary I have for me and keep that in force so that our relationship can remain healthy. It's so important to have boundaries because of healthy, to be healthy. If you think about
Yes.
everything that we have in life has a boundary. When you go, I don't care, you know, I do contract work, right? When I get contracts from my clients and they want me to agree to certain terms and conditions, it comes with boundaries. It comes with boundaries. It comes with requirements. This is what the expectation is. This is what we expect from you. This is how we're going to compensate you for meeting the expectation. Nothing more, nothing less. This is what I need from you. This is what you're going to give me. And here it is in an agreement. We sign that agreement, we adhere to that, period. And that's what relationships are. They're agreement. We're coming to an agreement to where we both agree, whether we agree to disagree or we agree to agree, we both agree about specific things, and boundaries has got to be one of those things that are agreed upon, because when we don't do this before we say I do or we make these permanent long-term relationships, we have all types of problems that could have been prevented had we set some things in place and adhere to them. Can't just set them in place and not adhere to them. It's like me saying, okay, Taylor, the show starts at 8, and then I'm good with you showing up at 8:10. No, the hell I ain't, because the show starts at 8. I want you to be here at 7:45 so we can make sure everything, you know, everything is in motion properly before we start talking to other people. But had I not set those wheels in motion and gave you those specific terms and conditions, then you wouldn't have a way of knowing that. You could show up and say, "Oh, I didn't realize you know, I know it started at 8, but I had an emergency. Oh, I didn't realize that I had to be there at 8.
Hmm.
Well, I thought I told you." No, you thought you told me versus you telling me it's two different things. And then me listening with the intent of understanding, not to respond. I just need to understand what it is that you want from me, what it is that you desire, and how I can be of value to you. So, relationships, when it comes to that, it is extremely important that we understand that when we're in a relationship with somebody and we say that this person, we want this person in our life. I want this person in my life. So, I've got to respect the boundaries that they set in place. So, the next thing is another thing that's major is to self-validate your emotions. The other person might not agree to what your emotional state is, but when you my emotions are valid, whether you agree with it or not, Taylor. My emotions are valid, and this is another thing that you have to do in a relationship because a person may say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I made you feel that way." It kind of feels like they're discounting your emotions. But if you count your emotions and say, "Oh, my emotions are very valid, same as
Hmm.
yours."
Yep.
However, we don't have to agree that we feel the same way. I don't have to feel like you feel to say, "Oh, I understand. You have a right to have it's your emotion." So validate your own emotion. So Taylor, what does that look like when you teach people to validate their own emotion? What does that look like?
Man, this is a, a very interesting section
You're not bringing it. I
of
tell
the
you I'm
whole.
gonna bring it.
Oh no, well, I mean, we're really talking about civilized individuals on how to conversate because we know how the streets
We're not for the streets,
operates.
Taylor. We're
We
not
know how
for
the
the streets.
we know how the streets because
We're not for
it
the streets, Taylor. We're
right,
not for the streets.
right. We're not for the streets. You're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. But when it comes to hmm, when it comes to setting boundaries and self validation, you know, this is where the relationship. People say, I don't know if was it you relationship. People make relationship hard, right? I think
I
I
said that.
right.
That was
You said,
something I said for sure. People make
but
relationships hard because they ain't hard. It's the people
so
in it that's making it that way.
I think when two people is coming together and don't want to let go of their way of thinking, their way of doing things, and I, that's where it becomes difficult because the thing is that I have to respect your feelings and you have to respect my feelings. Like you said, we don't have to agree,
Right.
but we have to respect. Now, once we both respect each other's feelings and perspective. Now, how do we come to a medium point?
Right.
And that's where people have a hard time coming to a medium point because somebody want to hold on to how they feel and how it should be or how they think it should be.
Hmm.
And so, how do both people win? For me, I always said in a relationship, I want us to both win.
Right.
Somebody's like, well, you both people can't be winners. Well, that's
Yes, we
your
can.
relationship. That's your
Yeah,
relationship.
at our house,
a
we
hundred
are
percent.
everybody winning. Everybody winning.
Both people, both of y'all need to be heard. You see,
Very
we,
true.
oh, I'm gonna sacrifice this time. I why? Why do you have to sacrifice this time? We can both compromise.
Right.
You can get a piece of the pie too. We need to both eat. It's not you eat
That's a fact.
today and you know what? You're gonna eat you're not gonna eat tomorrow either. And you know what? I'm gonna be a little selfish. You're not gonna eat for another 30 days because you're gonna sacrifice, get beat down. Your feelings is not gonna matter. You're gonna face resentment, and then you're gonna have a toxic relationship. So we both have to come to a medium point where we both can sit down and say, hey, look, I don't feel like having this conversation right now because I've talked to people,
Hmm.
i.e., women, some that they would tell me I have to say what I need to say now and get it off my chest right now. Well, do you have to say what you have to say and get off your chest to your boss?
No.
Or do you strategize and wait for the appropriate time to let it be known? But you do that for everyone else. Well, you know what? It just wasn't the right time for me to have that conversation with my boss. But it's the right time for you to have the conversation with your spouse when your spouse is telling you that they're not feeling well, when your spouse is telling you that they have a headache or they're having a bad day. You felt it
Dig
was a
this. Look at this. Look at Coach Roberts. Now AD has been in the before coaching, and I
oh
just
yeah,
wanted you to see this, okay? Before coaching ever became popular, he was my coach, like 20 something years ago. Okay, so he was coaching before coaching became coaching. Okay, he says, I think you must acknowledge, understand, and address the person's triggers too, and that's what you're talking about. You're heading down that path to say, hey, now this person already told you I didn't had a challenge. And we started off by saying that when we started the conversation was, I've already had a challenging day. I need you to understand that. Now, when it comes to, and we got to get AD on here, with us with this conversation too. Um, when it comes to addressing that,
mhm.
I got mixed feelings about that.
for
I
for
really do because I feel like when it comes to a person's triggers, that's an internal thing that they have to deal with because Now I do get that I now don't misunderstand that I'm not saying don't acknowledge. What I'm saying is we have to address whatever has internally manifested in our lives that cause us to feel particular ways that have nothing to do with this current person. Sometimes we're so obsessed with what was that we can't see what is and what will be. I did a video, I hadn't posted it yet, but I was talking about that this morning. Sometimes when it comes to relationships, we've had such challenging experiences with somebody else's son and daughter that the son or daughter that we with now, we can't even receive from them because it sounds too familiar.
No, 100%. I didn't know if you was waiting for me to go. I thought you had something else
I'm
to say.
waiting. I'm waiting. I'm just,
No,
I'm digressing a little bit because this right here get me pumped.
well, this right here gets me. It
We
gets me
got to
pumped.
get AD and Dr. Carolyn is in the building. We got to get them on here with us, Taylor.
It gets me. It really gets me upset, and I'll tell you the reason why.
Are
First
you
of all,
feeling triggered? Are you feeling triggered?
yeah, I am feeling triggered for the
Okay.
triggers. For the
Let me
triggers.
let me do what Coach AD said and acknowledge them trigger. Let me acknowledge.
Absolutely. Number one, who are you to identify what is my triggers? Are you certified? Or did you go to school for this? Are you boarded? Like 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 who are you? Who are you to help soothe my wounds? That's not your job, even as a spouse. That's not your job. You don't know what you're doing. You might think you know what you're doing. You might think you know what you're doing, but you don't know what you're doing. You might be pacifying my triggers, but the triggers is still there. You're not helping it. You're just pacifying it. You're just keeping it. It's there. You're not even putting a band-aid over it. You're just kind of ignoring it. You don't want nothing to touch, so you might be protecting it. Oh, I give my spouse space when certain things. Really? Oh, so when it comes to a victim that's been abused and you've never been abused, you've never seen nobody been abused, how do you handle that trigger in a relationship?
Mm,
Can't.
good.
That person needs to get professional help. What about a person that's been raped all their life? How do you handle that trigger in a relationship,
Mm,
man? How,
mm.
how do you have the how do you what you just have the random conversations so you can open that womb and that she can get emotional and start crying and it gets worse? Like, how do you handle that? And that's the thing. We're
I will
taking
tell you this. I'll tell you this while you're on there. While you're on that, I have lived through that. I am a thriver. I have survived and I thrived through that. And, I have to concur with you on that. And it wasn't until I took personal control over that to get the support and the help that I need. And I've not attracted any person that caused me to feel a way about that aspect of what was. I haven't, not in the vibration where I am in my life now. I no longer have that energy where I'm attracting into my life somebody that will cause me to revert back to that experience. But it wasn't until I took the initiative to take control over that and to not only survive, but to thrive and become an overcomer when it came to that. And you're right. No one could support me in that. And I mean, I remember, I'm glad you brought that up. I remember feeling so triggered one time, um, that the person was just freaked out, like, what in the heck? What? Like, I didn't do that to you. And the guy was, and when after I went and got the support that I needed, I understood how he felt. Cause I couldn't even see past me to think about the fact that I was also harming him And he had nothing to do with what happened to me when I was 16, what happened to me
Mm,
when I was 25, what happened to me when I was in high school. He had nothing to do. He was like, I didn't do those things to you. So now I got to sit up here and deal with all of what's. He's like, you need. I mean, and it's so funny that you mentioned it like that because he was the person that was the catalyst of change for me. Like he was like, you need to get your. He wasn't real polite about it, but he was right. He was like, "You have got to go get help. You are not being a good partner." And he said it straight up. He was like, "You're not being a good partner." And I'm not and I can't do this with you. And I remember feeling, I just and I almost felt abandoned in a sense. And he was
mm,
like, "That sense of abandonment don't have nothing to do with me either. This ain't got nothing to do with me." And when he kept saying it, he just kept and he was like, "I love you, but I hate this." And he was like, "It's a thin line." He said, "I love you, but I hate this." And I remember going to get the support that and I remember him creating those boundaries. Those boundaries. He said, "Listen, when you after you go do your work and you get the support that you need, I'm gonna be right here." And when he said that confidence in knowing that he wasn't going to abandon me because
right.
of the things that I was, hadn't coped with effectively, knowing that he wasn't going to abandon me, it gave me the courage that I had to do. Because if you've been violated by a man, it's hard for you to trust anybody's son. Period.
True.
So just having him there saying basically, I'm with you. I'm just not with this. And I mean, he's a life friend, even though we're no longer, in a romantic space, he's still a life friend because
Mhm.
he didn't turn his back on me, but he was not going to participate in the BS either. He was like, no, no, this is why I draw the line in the sand. No, no. And I appreciate that, him being very curt and direct. It hurt when it was happening, but it helped me to see that I had to take care of me
Mm,
in order to be of value to him. And I think that, and I love the passion out of you, and I don't even think you was triggered. I think you just got that passion in you, when it comes to things like that, as far as us being accountable to us, for us, with us, you know?
yeah. We we think, I don't know, it's
One of the things that I always I say to people all the time is, how is your relationship with you? And most people are like, what you mean? And I said, see that face right there? That's yeah. Your relationship with you is not where it needs to be. Whenever somebody say, what you mean? Your relationship with you is not where it needs to be. And it's
I,
important that we have that relationship with us where it needs to be and have that thing intact, and that's another way not to lose yourself in a relationship. When you have the relationship with you intact, you can't be lost because that person didn't create you. That person did not make you. That person did not mold you because your relationship with you is very sure and it's very much intact. So I can't be lost because I'm the Lord. I'm found, honey. I can't be lost. Not through nothing. Nothing is gonna separate me from me.
mm, I'll say this. I know somebody, a friend of mine, has once said to me, somebody was going through something, and they told me that I was never um, good at comforting people. Um,
You
and
mean like you being good at comforting somebody at
no, no,
comforting?
like comforting. You know how when you comfort, like when somebody's going through something, comforting people.
Oh, empathy. You're not
Yeah,
empathetic.
empathy. She
Okay.
described that. She said she never had it. She never had it, and she never want to be it. Okay. Now the
Have
reason why,
empathy?
when somebody's going through something, she said, she just don't know how to deal with that because she never experienced it, and she just don't want to be in a position where she's empathize. Some people don't know how to empathize.
Yeah.
So some, like, how when somebody lose a loved one, I've
Yeah.
heard people say that, hey, I never lost anyone close to me, I don't know what to say, right? So you have these people, and let me say this. If an individual, and this is the reason why I brought up that point, if an individual don't know how to empathize with somebody when they're down,
Mhm.
do you think an individual know how to cope with somebody's triggers? We talking about things that people have gone through their childhood. You're telling me that a person that could look at another person and seeing them having a bad day or crying, to say, hey, I'm sorry that you had to go through this today. How can I be a help to make it a little better?
Mhm. Mhm.
There's people that don't know how to do that.
Mhm.
So you're telling me we're going to take that same person and we're going to throw them with another individual that have abandonment issues, that have trust issues, that have all kinds of stuff, and we want them, who's in a relationship, to try to figure it out. You're looking at a fireball waiting to happen. So, I'll say this, and I've always said this, is that you have to seek professional, licensed, researchable, ratings individual that can help you get to the place that you need to be. You can't go to your mama, your daddy, Ray Ray over there, Shaniqua over here. Excuse my, I know I'm gonna get some
I got
lash.
you.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
get some flashback. Lisa, okay, I said it. Lisa over
Yeah.
here, right?
Say Lisa, say Daniqua,
You know, um,
Carolyn, Jackie, maybe Jackie.
Jackie. You can't go to these individuals and figure that they can help you get through all the years of hurt and suffering and beat down and torment that you have gone through in your life. And all of a sudden, you're gonna come out on the other side fine. It's just it's not mathematically possible. Period. Point blank. You think whatever you want to think. It's not. You have to do the work. There's some things in life that you can't skip. This is one of the things that you have to take seriously, that's inside of you. And it doesn't have to be something serious. It could be anything, right? There's things that I struggle with, that I know that it's in me. We all
Mm,
know what's in us, right? And sometimes it's in us through our upbringing. Sometimes it's in us through just bad habits.
true.
Sometimes it's things that we see, we were influenced, we tried it, we felt, it works. Or, I remember this one guy told me, oh, I'm just an a-hole. That's just who I am. That's my personality. Almost like you and everybody else need to accept who I am. So I looked at him and say, who you are is fine, but being an a-hole doesn't make it right. See, you might be that person, but that doesn't mean it's the right person to be, right? So,
That
um,
don't make it acceptable.
exactly. But here's the thing, and I'm going to say this. For some reason, through that path of that individual, every finger is always pointing at that individual for everything. I wonder why. Anyway,
So let's
but
move on to the next thing when it
absolutely.
comes to preventing being lost in a relationship. I love it. I love the comments that came through. Um, and so let's talk about this for the sake of this discussion. Prioritize you time. Prioritize you time. Prioritize whatever hobbies, projects, whatever it is that contributed to your happiness and your peace prior to that partnership, or whoever you're with. Um, and this is not just romantic. This is business. This is everything in your life. You have to prioritize you. You know, when we first started the conversation, I asked Taylor how his day was. He started talking about how he had some things to do, but he realized he needed to roll out at the set time where he was scheduled to be out. That's that prioritizing you. That's that prioritizing you. It is extremely important that you prioritize you. And you got to give up the need to feel needy. You got to give up that need to always have somebody sitting there pacifying something about you. Something. It don't matter what it is. The pacifier. You got to give the pacifier up. Um, the one thing, and I'm gonna say this like from a mother perspective that make it make sense. I watch people give their babies pacifiers, right, Taylor? The baby whines and they give them a pacifier and that suckling, whatever. Well, I didn't pacify my babies with pacifiers. You hollering, what you hollering for? Let's try to let's talk about why you hollering. You ate, your belly is nice and full. I'm feeling your belly. Ain't nothing wrong with your belly. You done pooped. You know, you got that good breast milk in you. You fine. You just want some attention, and I'm not willing to give it to you. So I'm gonna let you lay right here and learn how to self cope. I'm gonna let you learn how to self cope, and you're gonna be fine. You'll be just fine. And so, you know, one of my babies, my doctor was like, "Well, give it to them periodically," because they just were kind of like a little fussy. I had a fussy. One of my babies was fussy, and what I noticed in giving them that pacifier, they kind of try to become dependent on it. I said, "Oh no." Anytime you start picking the thing up, putting it in your own mouth, that's a problem. I said, no, let me go ahead and get this out of your whole life. I took every last one of them things and put them in the garbage. I said that to say this: when it comes to us taking care of ourselves, prioritizing, you know, putting ourselves first, educating ourselves, consistently educating. I'm not talking about traditional education where you're inside you books. Get you some books or whatever you need to do to keep taking care of you so that you don't become the person on the pacifier where somebody always got to be plugging in places in your life where there's holes. Fill the holes in. We have everything within us to fill in our own holes. You know, Taylor, and this is just me. This is just me. This is coach, certified master life coach P. Coffee Brown. I think it was about 5 years ago. I was in my mirror. I have these conversations in the mirror. And you know, I told myself, Taylor, if I never marry somebody's son again, I'm going to be just as productive, effective, incredible, amazing, outstanding as I am right now as an unmarried person. Amen. Because the society had projected so heavily, you know, then my family coming from and me being in ministry and coming from a family that, you know, oh, when you get married again, 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 you're not thinking about it, you don't want to get married. Duh, duh, duh. And I finally said one day when I had a conversation with one of the big, you know, the big folks in the family of mine now, you know, the people that run the family. I said, let me tell you something. If my identity is solely defined by my marital status, I'm in trouble.
Mhm.
That's a big old problem. If my identity is defined by my marital status, I'm in some deep doo doo for real. I'm in some sugar honey iced tea. If that's what defines who I am as a woman, that's a problem. And, you know, I just remember dealing with myself about it because I had gotten encompassed by society, you know, or people in my hemisphere who and I finally said, I'm good. I am content. I am content. And one thing that I can tell you as a minister, godliness with contentment is great game. Whatever state you're in, you got to be content with that. And that's another thing too when it comes to not getting lost in relationships. Being content with who You are. The person that you have to deal with always is you. We do deal with other people, but that person you gotta deal with is you. And you've gotta put yourself, I can't emphasize this enough, Taylor. You got to put you first. You got to take care of you. You got to take care of your psychological needs, your emotional needs, your social needs, your fiscal needs, your health and wellness. I was waiting for my doctor. I went and recently got my medical stuff done, Taylor, and I was waiting on my doctor because they were taking forever to contact me with the results. And I was like, well, maybe it's because of the holidays, and in my brain, I did not let my mind venture to think something was wrong because I knew what went wrong with me. And my doctor called me today. She said, you are in amazing health, Miss 47." And I said, "Thank you, daughter. God is faithful, and I've been taking care of me." Because that wasn't always my story, Taylor. That wasn't always the outcome. That wasn't always when I went to go to the doctor. It wasn't always like that. It was, you need to work on this, you need to work on that, you need to rectify this, you need to clean up that, you need to fix this, you need to fix that. But I finally came to that point where I made me a priority. When I did that, I started making sure I put myself in a predicament to where when I went to the doctor, it was for preventative, not
Mm.
because I need them to prevent something. So that's something that you gotta hone in on that, y'all. We gotta hone in on that. Take care of you. Love thy neighbor as thyself. As means how you're treating you. Love somebody like you treating yourself. Well, how can I love my neighbor as myself if I don't know how to take care of myself? If I don't know how to treat myself? Oh, when I come loving my neighbor, I'm going to love them from a tainted space, a toxic space, an unhealthy space, because that's where I am. I don't know no different because I'm not seeing myself any differently. I feel like I'm okay. No, you're not. You're not okay. You're not okay. You're not good. Let's go to the next one. This is good. Be willing to risk rejection for what's important to you. That's a big one. Be willing to risk rejection for what's important to you. That's huge.
That is huge.
That's big. That's big, especially in a relationship. Be willing to risk your person saying, "Oh, what? What? That? Yeah, uh-huh. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do for me. Yeah, uh-huh. Yeah, boo. Uh-huh. I don't think you need to do that. Well, I ain't asked you what you think. I don't need your permission. I would love your support, but if I don't have it, hey, I'm still gonna do what I'm gonna do for me. Period.
Ooh.
Not
That's a
cocky, not arrogant. It's that that um that confidence that you have that you're just not letting go of. Oh, this is what I'm doing for me. That I ain't asked you for no permission. I'm just letting you know what's going down and what's happening episode of This My Life. Yeah. Be willing to risk rejection for what's important to you. That is beyond huge.
it's so funny. Some people have a hard time doing that, but it's amazing. I might get a little toxic, so excuse me. When it
A
comes
little
to
toxic?
like political belief,
Mhm,
you don't have a hard time standing your ground on that. When it comes to faith and belief, religion, you don't have a hard time standing on that. But when it comes to you willing to risk the things that will do you wrong if they don't change for
mhm,
you,
mhm.
you don't want to risk that. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. Some people will go from here to the moon to stand firm on their political belief, but they're not going to stand firm in a toxic relationship.
You know, I think sometimes people don't even realize that they're one in a toxic relationship, and two, they are the toxicity.
That's
I
yeah,
don't think some people. That's
that's
a
a whole
whole
nother,
nother show, right?
that's a whole nother show, and I hope we have it.
Now, here's another thing that is important for you not to lose yourself in a relationship, and that is embracing healthy conflict to where you and your person can have these great dialogues. I'm a debate person by nature. I love a
Mhm.
healthy debate. When I tell you I love a good, strong, healthy debate, not where it's offense in any regard, but it's a good, strong, healthy debate. Not only does it strengthen your partnership, but it helps your person to really know who they're dealing with. It really helps your person to be like, you know what, this child right here, when I tell you she's passionate about this right here, I ain't gonna be able to. We'll be here all night because the girl is on fire when it comes to this topic. Period. The girl ain't taking no for an answer with this particular topic right here. And I respect that about her. And I respect that about him. This is something that he's just not going to bend on. I remember last month before we crossed over into 2023 in the Gregorian calendar. I remember last month I was talking to somebody on the phone, and this was somebody that I've known for some years, and they said something. Um, they said, I've taken a stance on this and I'm never letting it go. This is my truth. So we can go talk about this till we blue in the face. This right here is my truth. And I refuse to let it go. I bought it, I ain't selling it. I said, oh, okay, you sure right. You sure right. So you know me and you ain't no need me. It's no need of us even going any further with this conversation because
Exactly.
you drawing that line in the sand. And I respect that line that you drawn.
Yep.
And that's another thing too, is always acknowledging that you respect your partner's position, regardless of if you agree or disagree. You respect your partner's position. Whenever you do that, it just brings in even more adoration, more honor, more respect, more dignity. It just helps your relationship to become better and stronger. When you say, "Hey, I respect what you're saying. I respect your position. I I understand. I got it. I'm clear." Even if you don't agree with it,
Right.
even if you don't like it in that moment, even if it's something that you're not really certain of. But if your person is bent on something and it's something that adds to them, it's something that's of value to them, respect that. You don't have to agree with it, but definitely keep that respect intact regardless of which gender, because we all want to be respected. We all want to have mutual love, freedom, and respect in our relationships, period. I don't care what kind of relationship it is, whether it's business, personal, friendship, we all want to be respected. Mutual love, mutual freedom, mutual respect. That's what creates incredible relationships. Me and Taylor don't agree on stuff, and we have these funny. If y'all ever heard us talking behind, y'all be like, y'all be talking to each other like, yeah, yeah, we do. But we have a clear respect for each other's opinions, each other's positions on stuff, and it'll never be no real conflict because the respect is right there. The mutual love, the mutual freedom, the mutual respect. And that's what all partnerships, I don't care what kind of partnership it is, those three things have to be in place and made priority.
Absolutely. When the respect is there and a person have a hard stance, you can't bring it up. Something. Oh boy, you can't. I can't respect you, Miss Coffee Brown, and then like I'm poking you too tomorrow about it, or I'm bringing it up again. I thought we discussed that. We came to an agreement. We have moved on. But sometimes people want to bring it up
Mhm.
again, not even to really have an argument, but just to talk about it. Why? Why do you just want to just talk about it?
Cause you ain't respect what I said. You said it, but you ain't respect it, huh? You was talking. You was saying something. You thought that you was just talking, okay, boo. But this ain't respect, okay, huh? Listen here, I love it, Taylor. We are already. This hour has gone by so quickly.
I know.
So quickly. I have loved this dialogue. The comments were amazing tonight. Thank you guys for being here with us. Great segment. I have scrolled Taylor's information. I'm going to put it back up on the screen for you guys, for those of you that want to connect with him. It's at tailormadespeaks.org. Definitely connect with him on his website. I am Coach Koffe is one of my websites with my products and services that you guys can take advantage of. You can also connect with me at coffee10k.com. That gives you everything, all of my social media, anything that you want to find out about me. You can go to coffee10k.com. I am completely booked through second quarter. I might be able to squeeze a couple souls in, depending on necessity. But of course, y'all have to hit me up, if you're looking for someone to add value to you in the coaching space. I know Taylor does coaching as well. Connect with him on his site. Again, that's tailormadespeaks.org. So tonight for the accessories, we are super excited about this collection. Telja collection, these amazing earrings. Look at these earrings, y'all. Aren't they gorgeous? Absolutely stunning. Super creative, and she did these by hand. She did them by hand. She is so amazing. 29 years young, 28, 29 years old, and killing it. She's in the southern part of the world doing some amazing things with her accessories collection, and we're so honored to be partnered with her and just rolling with her brand. The necklaces that I have on don't come directly from my boutique. Again, we're still in the space of giving you guys 40% off. The code word is coffee. My name, Koffe. Grab you some good stuff, 40% off while supplies last. And several things. Check out my reels, check out my stories, all that kind of stuff. If you want access to my private boutique for my VIP, you can DM me directly. All of my social media is the same, P Coffee Brown, no variation in that. So you can DM me to connect with me if you want to be a part of my VIP for those who want to be bougie and ball on a budget. Thank y'all so much for being here tonight. It's been an amazing conversation. Taylor and I will be back in the saddle next week, but we are looking to add some other panelists on with us as we continue into 2023. There's a particular coach that I've been hanging out with on Instagram that I think I want to kind of get him on here, and a couple other amazing ladies in the coaching space. We're focusing on coaching for a while because people are asking for strong coaches to where they can connect with and be able to, do some new things in their life. And so I know some great coaches. Obviously, I'm hanging out with one tonight, but I know quite a few amazing coaches that we'll have coming on, hanging out with us in this particular arena that this little thing we on trajectory we're on right now. And we'll be doing some new things with something else coming up and later on after first quarter. I ain't gonna tell y'all. Y'all know I don't tell y'all till it be all ready to we be ready to pop the baby out. I don't tell y'all about nobody being pregnant till that baby getting ready to come be like, she pregnant. Not literally, figuratively, okay? Figuratively. Taylor, thank you so much for your time. It is the only commodity that we cannot get back. Always honored to have you rolling with me. I appreciate you being on as our featured co-host in the saddle in this season. So thank you so very much.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here again. Um, this is like home. So I'm
Look, I love having you here. It
thank
works.
you so much. Thank you
My
so
mama
much.
said if it worked, make it work. if it work, honey, work it. That's what she said.
Make it work.
Make it work. All right, y'all. Until next time, grace, peace, and blessings to each and every one of you. Be sure to like, share, and follow us, and let your friends, neighbors, and relatives know that we are here. We'll be back, God willing, on next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. Good night, everybody.